Update. I ran away because I'm child-free and I feel like my fiancé was trying to get me pregnant. Original post. I, 26 female, have always known I didn't want kids. From a young age, even when adults asked me how many kids I wanted, my answer was always none. I didn't even know what child-free meant, but I always was. As I got older, I realized what it was. I just didn't feel that unconditional love that's supposed to come with having children. Could I love a child? What if? I can't be a mother because I don't know what that kind of love feels like. That's how I've spent my whole life. Then I met my fiancé, 34 male, 2 years ago. He was my first everything, and I finally experienced romantic love. But when it came to kids, I still knew I couldn't do it. From the beginning, I told him that having kids was off the table. He said he was fine with that because he never really liked kids, so it wasn't a problem for him. 5 months ago, he proposed, and I said yes. We moved in together, and everything was perfect. We were planning our wedding slowly, no rush. That was until his sister had a baby 2 months ago. My fiancé instantly fell in love with his nephew and was there every step of the way. He bathed him, changed him, napped with him. It seemed normal, I guess, so I didn't mind. 3 weeks ago, we went to his sister's house for lunch. My fiancé was mowing her lawn when she asked me to watch the baby for a couple of minutes. I tried to refuse, but she looked so down that I agreed. I thought she would just put him in his stroller or something, but she plopped him into my arms and went upstairs. I panicked. I had never held such a small baby before, and I was terrified I might drop him. 5 minutes in, he started crying. At first it was fine, but then he started screaming at the top of his lungs. How can such a tiny baby be so loud? I was almost in tears myself. I stood up as gently as I could and went outside where my fiancé was. I yelled at him to come grab the baby from me. He came over, took a picture of me holding the baby, and instead of taking him from me, he started giving me tips on how to calm him down. He pushed the baby closer to my chest and said, "He really suits you." I was on the verge of a panic attack, my hands trembling. I was even more scared to drop him. I yelled, "If you don't grab him, I'm putting him on the floor." He got angry, called me a bee, and grabbed the baby. I couldn't handle it anymore, so I took an Uber home. He came home around midnight, showered, and went to sleep on the couch. The next morning, he was already gone when I woke up, and he didn't come home until 3 a.m. I told him we needed to talk, but he just said, "Tomorrow," and went back to the couch. The next day when I came home from work, he was waiting for me. We sat down, and he apologized for how he reacted, saying he didn't know what got into him. I asked the question I already knew the answer to. Me, do you want to have kids now? Him, I don't know. I just love him so much, you know? Me, well, that's normal, isn't it? Him, I guess. But do you really feel that against having kids? You don't even have to get pregnant or give birth. We can adopt. I talked about how scary pregnancy and childbirth were for me, especially because of how hard it was for my mom. She almost died giving birth to me due to complications, and she had to have an emergency hysterectomy. Me, that's not the only reason, and you know that. You know how I feel about not knowing if I could love a kid unconditionally. Him, I know, but you learned to love me, right? You can love a child too. Listen, we don't have to agree on this now. We can get married first and then revisit it. Please don't shut it down immediately. Then he started to cry and hugged me, so I dropped it. But deep down, I knew I couldn't be a mom. I know myself, and honestly, I felt betrayed by him. I thought I'd eventually start resenting him, but I hoped we could get past this. Then he started doing some strange things. He changed his wallpaper to the picture of me holding the baby. He started calling me mama. He wanted to start having unprotected sex, and he even began touching my belly when he thought I was asleep. I have fertility issues that I've never treated because, what was the point? My period is irregular, but mostly pain-free, so I never bothered to do anything about it. But when he suggested I go to the doctor to see what's going on with that, I panicked. It felt like he was trying to get me pregnant, and abortion is still illegal in the country we're living in. So I left. I told him my mom fell in the shower and broke her leg, a lie, and I wanted to stay with her for a couple of days to make sure she was okay. He said that was fine, and I waited for him to go to work. Then I grabbed important documents, some clothes, sentimental things, my dog, and I left. I don't know if what I did was right. I'm starting to doubt myself. Maybe he just wanted me to be healthy. Maybe he was just cuddling me or like that picture. But I can't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He hasn't realized that I left to never come back. He just questioned why I took the dog, jokingly. I didn't tell anyone. I just told my mom I missed her. Maybe I should go back and pretend everything's okay? But something about him feels off now, and I just don't know anymore. I'm sorry if this is all over the place and extremely long. I just can't talk to anyone about this, and it is eating me alive. I probably left some things out of context, so sorry about that too. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Nope. I'd trust that gut feeling. Everything about that screams that he was trying to convince you to change your mind. And the whole adoption shtick was just this way of trying to warm you to the idea. That's a man that can't be trusted. Honestly, it feels like if he can't change her mind, he's just gonna tamper with birth control. I want to say he's not capable, but after everything that happened, I'm not so sure anymore. We can get married first and then revisit it. He plans to make it harder for you to escape. Tell him your firm stance on no children. My stepmom didn't love me unconditionally, and it messed me up. Even if you would be a good mother, it's so messed up that he forced you to keep holding the baby. His sister too. I can't blame the sister. She's a single mom and is doing everything on her own. Her birth had some complication, and she really is doing the best she can. I wouldn't be surprised if your fiancé asked her to leave the baby with you, so he could come in and oh and ah about how good you look with a baby. I don't think his sister would have agreed to something like this. She's really a serious woman, and she doesn't take crap from anyone. Yet again, we do things we wouldn't normally do for our siblings. Now for the first update. So, I'm going to try to make this as chronologically accurate and concise as possible. If something is unclear, I'll clarify in the comments. The first thing I did after my last post was get a blood pregnancy test. It was negative. That night, I also spoke to my mom. I wasn't comfortable sharing every single detail, so I left some things out. But she told me she supports me and that I can stay with her for as long as I need. I also talked to my sisters. They admitted they never liked the idea of me dating someone so much older, but they didn't want to push me because they know me. If they did, I'd probably get angry, distance myself, and become even more dependent on him. I apologized for overreacting at everything and assured them that they should never hesitate to tell me if something feels weird or wrong. I called my boss and gave him a more family-friendly version of the story. He was absolutely livid, not only with him, but also with me for not telling him sooner. He's like my work dad and was the one who requested I join him. He said he didn't bring me to a foreign country without intending to take care of me. He promised to pull some strings to get me a position at the office in my country, since my former position was already filled. He also told me that if I wanted to get my things back, I could go back on a Saturday, and he would accompany me. After thinking about it, I decided to go back. It might seem silly, but I had spent a lot of money on K-pop photo cards, albums, mangas, and I didn't want to start my collection from scratch. So I spent a couple of days with friends and visiting family, realizing how lonely and isolated I felt in a foreign country, even though it's not that far from home. I knew I could never leave my family like that again. Even my dog seemed happier, spending every afternoon cuddling with my mom. I also visited my father's grave. I've always hated cemeteries and avoided them, but I needed him in that moment. I went alone, brought fresh flowers, cleaned a little, and just sat there talking to him. I told him none of this would have happened if he hadn't passed away. I cried like a lot, then laughed like a crazy person. I ended up staying for about 3 hours, but it felt so healing. I also went to my mom's gynecologist, and she said it was possible to get a tubal ligation, especially considering my health issues. She warned me it could take about 6 months, but I was okay with the wait, so we started the process. I felt so free after that appointment, and just so much happier being home. I didn't even think about my ex until he messaged me asking about my mom. I told him she was doing better and that I'd be back on Saturday. I decided to talk to him face to face, since I was already going back to collect my things. On Friday afternoon, my sister lent me her car, and I drove back. It's almost a 12-hour drive, but with breaks, it took about 14 hours. I went straight to my boss's house, and when I arrived around 9 a.m., he asked me to have breakfast with him and his family. Afterward, he and his son came with me to my ex's house. to help pack up my things. I even got some of my favorite plants. They made fun of my taste in music, and we finished in about an hour and a half. Afterward, I went to my ex's sister's house. I needed to know if the whole baby incident had been a setup. I knew she didn't work on Saturdays, so I went to her house. Luckily, she was home and invited me in. We sat in awkward silence for a moment until I asked her, "Me, did your brother ask you to make me hold a baby?" Her, "What? No, why? What even happened that day? When I went downstairs, you weren't there, and he said you got sick and had to leave." Me, "What did he tell you exactly?" Her, "He said you had a panic attack because of fertility issues, and holding the baby was triggering." I told him that didn't sound like you, but he said, "How are you supposed to know more about my fiancé than I do?" Then he left. Me, "What the actual hell?" Her, "Yeah, he even said you wanted to babysit and go to the park as a couple with the baby, but I told him he was crazy if he thought I'd let him use my baby like that." He got mad at me and didn't speak to me for a couple of days. Then I laughed and explained what actually happened. She was furious, so mad she started crying. She apologized for leaving me with the baby, and I apologized for saying I was going to put the baby on the floor, clarifying that I wasn't actually going to do that. She said she was genuinely considering going low contact with him because his behavior was creepy, and she feared he might do something to the baby. I decided to tell her I was leaving her brother, and she said she understood. We hugged, and she said she'd miss me. I went back to my boss's house to wait for my ex to get home. I told him to text me when he got off work. I was a nervous wreck. I almost threw up. My boss's wife made me chamomile tea and stayed by my side, rubbing my back. I honestly love that woman. The whole family, really. My boss and his son came with me to his apartment. One thing about my boss, he's a softie, but he's huge. He's 195 centimeters, 6 feet 3, and about 130 kilograms, 286 pounds, and his son is basically a carbon copy of him, so I felt pretty safe. When my ex got home, he smiled at me but then saw my boss and his son. He asked me what was going on. Me, "I'm breaking up with you. You're clearly going through a baby fever phase, and I don't want any part of that." Him, "What do you mean breaking up? We can't break up. We love each other." Me, "No, you love the idea of me being pregnant with your child, and that's not going to happen." He tried to hug me, but my boss grabbed his shoulder and said, "Why don't you sit here with me?" Him, "I can't lose you. I love you. You're my soulmate. I can't live without you. If you leave me, I'll die. I would rather never have kids than lose you. I'll even get a vasectomy, but please stay. What will our families think? You can't just break off the engagement like this." Me, "First of all, this isn't a telenovela, so calm down. Second, I never even told my family we were engaged, and I've already told them we broke up." Him, "What about the dog? You can't just take her." Me, "What dog? The dog I've had since I was 17? That's my dog, and she barely tolerates you. Trust me, she's much happier with my mom." He started sobbing and tried to speak, but I couldn't understand him. My boss's son couldn't have chosen a worse moment to laugh and ask, "You really didn't tell your family?" Me, "I just never found the right moment, you know?" My ex calmed down a little and said he'd never let me go. He still loved me, blah blah blah. I felt a little threatened when he said something like, "I'll find you and make you fall in love with me again." I told him, "Good luck with that, but seriously, we're not in a telenovela. Enough with the drama." I gave him the ring back and he threw it at me, though it didn't hit me. I said, "I hope you find someone who wants kids, but I also hope you get psychological help." And we left. I spent the night at my boss's house, and the next morning I went back home. I spent the rest of Sunday sleeping because I had a bit of a fever. That's me, the girl who gets emotional fevers. I helped my mom with her business today, and my therapy session is on the 13th. Due to how things went in the office, I'll start again in March. They kind of fired me to rehire me. Thank you so much for helping me see how crazy this whole situation was. I feel so happy and so light now. I forgot how much I love having my family around. I probably won't update again unless something crazy happens. But yeah, thank you people, especially women of Reddit. Added to clarify a couple of things. 1. Some people said, and even messaged me to tell me I never loved my fiancé and I'm a horrible cold person. I did love him, and I think I still do. I had a whole script memorized to talk to him about his sister's baby, him wanting unprotected sex. why I ran away, but I panicked and forgot everything and decided to just be blunt and direct. 2. I didn't take 2 men to make fun of him while I broke up with him. That's actually insane. They came with me because I didn't feel safe with my ex alone. 3. People saying I need therapy? I know, I already made the appointment. It's on the 13th. 4. About the tubal ligation. It's nothing confirmed yet, but I'll try to get a bilateral salpingectomy. Someone here actually let me know what that was. I wanted a hysterectomy, but that's basically impossible according to my doctor. Your boss's son had me cackling. I'd be careful about your ex though. Sounds like the start of a stalker behavior. My mom has security cameras already, so I'm feeling confident. Also, I don't think he's just going to leave everything to follow me, not even knowing where I am. I'm curious, is there a legal way to keep an eye on him in his country? Also, is he active on social media and tends to share everything? From like when he gets up and then walks to work as he picks his nose? His responses are making me a bit uneasy. It seems like he's genuinely clueless about the consequences of his actions and how they've affected you. I don't think they can really just watch him without cause, but my boss's wife advised me to go to a police station before going out of the country again, to let them know I was leaving willingly just in case. And no, he doesn't post much on social media, just big events, birthday anniversaries and that kind of stuff. Now for the last update 9 months later. Hello, it's me again. It's been a long time, and I don't know if people still care much about all this anymore, but I feel like this is the last thing I need to do to fully close this chapter of my life. First of all, I'm officially sterile. After fighting with doctors for months and convincing them that my imaginary future husband won't mind not having any biological children, I got a bilateral salpingectomy, so no more kids for me. Work-wise, I'm doing great. The person who replaced me in my old position was moved to another department, so they offered me my job back and I accepted it. I do have to travel to the neighboring country again, which makes me a little anxious, but it's only 1 week every 3 months, and I get to stay with my old boss and his family, so that's nice. My therapist is amazing. Honestly, I love her. She helped me realize my issues go way deeper than what happened with my ex. Speaking of him, I found out through my boss's son, let's call him Alan, that he's expecting a child with someone. Alan showed me pictures from a gender reveal party with him and a girl, but I didn't see his sister there, so I don't know if she's still no contact with him or something. Anyway, I'm actually glad he got what he wanted. He wasn't really a bad person, just someone who got carried away with his feelings and did some bad things. I'm not defending him though, I just chose to move on and hope we both grow as people. I also started seeing someone 2 months ago. We're taking things really slow, but he's so patient, caring, and loving, and being with him makes me feel so good. But I'm still scared of being intimate. Even though I technically can't have kids anymore, some of that anxiety is still hanging around, I guess. We talked about me being child-free, and he said he is too, and he actually got a vasectomy when he was 21. I told him about what happened with my ex, and he is really supportive and doesn't pressure or rush me to do anything I'm not ready for. Anyway, I just wanted to give an update and let you all know that I'm fine and happy. A lot of people were really worried about me, and I appreciate the concern and wanted to let you know that I'm moving on, and this is probably my last update. I want to keep doing better and close this chapter completely. I think I'll delete this account at some point too. Not even 9 months later, and he already got another girl pregnant. I'm really trying to be the bigger person and not talk crap about him, because both of them look quite happy in the pictures, but from what Alan showed me, she's 24 years old, and that makes me feel a funny weird feeling, but I hope they are good for each other or whatever. You're doing good, but the devil on my shoulder wants to warn you he'll come back with regrets at some point. Once he realizes how hard it is. Stay strong and good luck. Oh hell nah, he better not. So happy for you. I remember reading your post. He really got what he wanted though. A baby. It's sad honestly, since it looked he was quite obsessed with being a father. I just hope he is an actual good father now that he has a baby on the way. Last story. Girlfriend got pregnant from her stepdad and tried to pass it off as mine. It's been 6 years since I broke up with a girl I thought was the one. We dated for 4.5 years, but when she moved in with me, everything changed. She became very needy and obsessive, to the point where I couldn't even spend 10 minutes talking to the other housemates without a text from her asking me to come back to our bedroom. She would randomly appear at my work and expect me to give her attention. It all came to a head when she told me she was pregnant, which I found strange since I never finished inside her. But we never used condoms, so maybe she was. That's when things took a turn. Two of her friends who didn't know each other each told me that she was cheating on me and the baby was someone else's, but they wouldn't tell me who. I asked how they knew, and they both said she told them. I approached my girlfriend and told her I wanted a DNA test to double-check if it was mine. She got upset and asked if I thought she cheated on me. I said I didn't know, I just wanted to be sure, and fed her some BS about it happening to a friend and that I just wanted a peace of mind. She disappeared for a few weeks. No response, nothing. Then she came back and suddenly she wasn't pregnant anymore. I was upset and she was just acting like nothing had happened at all. I kept trying to broach the subject with her, but she refused. One day she started blowing up my phone and then the work phone trying to get my attention. I told her if it was important to tell me now or wait until I got home. She went silent. I hung up, but then she kept sending a barrage of messages. I cracked because I couldn't take it anymore and told her to get her stuff and get out of my house. When I got home, she was gone. She also stole my favorite t-shirt. Over time, I found out she was cheating on me with her stepdad, which got her pregnant, and then she tried to pass it off as mine. When I asked for the DNA test, she freaked out and got an abortion. Turns out her stepdad was investigated when she was in high school for sleeping with her then, and it just never stopped. She kept going back. It's destroyed my relationship with women. I am 34 now and I have not been with a single person since. It's been slowly killing me from the inside out. I want to have a family of my own, wife, kids, all of it. But I just can't trust another woman. I've tried dating since, but as soon as I see any red flag, I bail. I just can't help trying to protect myself. Over these years, I've been staying home and online more and more, and now I get panic attacks when I leave the house. I just feel like I can't trust people like I used to. I also dived into drugs of all forms. Lately, I've been trying to get off them, but I keep having dreams about my ex, and it's sending me spiraling again. I need the drugs to make me forget, but I need to get off them so I can re-enter the world. Even after all this time, it hurts so much. I don't think I can ever trust a woman again. Have you been in therapy? Isolating yourself isn't helping the issue either. Yeah, I have been to therapy. Got diagnosed with ADHD, depression, and anxiety. I've tried all kinds of medication, but none of it really helped. Just a band-aid. The only real help therapy has gotten me was pushing myself to do university. That's over now. Got my degree sitting there, but it's never really helped with the core issue. I also hang out with a group of friends, all guys, at least once a week, so I make sure to leave the house at some point. But none of it has truly helped me get over it all and move on.